Brooklyn Beckham has spoken, and the reason I'm bringing you this is because this is in his own words. He has released a lengthy statement on his Instagram, and within it, he talks about controlling the narrative, leaking stories, various different elements that we cover on this channel, Insiders. And so, for that reason, I want to bring this to you. So the Sun have written Brooklyn bombshell. Brooklyn Beckham shares bombshell statement on Family Feud as he shares his side of the story. I've been silent for years. I am going to bring you this statement, and then I'm going to exclusively tell you what I think this means for Brand Beckham and why I am going to say things I never thought I would say. There are some things I agree with Brooklyn Beckham on. So the statement says, I have been silent for years and made every effort to keep these matters private. Unfortunately, my parents and their team have continued to go to the press, leaving me with no choice but to speak for myself and tell the truth about only some of the lies that have been printed. I do not want to reconcile with my family. I'm not being controlled. I'm standing up for myself for the first time in my life. For my entire life, my parents have controlled narratives in the press about our family. The performative social media posts, family events, and inauthentic relationships have been a fixture of the life I was born into. Recently, I have seen with my own eyes the lengths that they'll go to place countless lies in the media, mostly at the expense of innocent people to preserve their own facade. But I believe the truth always comes out. My parents have been trying endlessly to ruin my relationship since before my wedding, and it hasn't stopped. My mum cancelled making Nicola's dress in the 11th hour, despite how excited she was to wear her design, forcing her to urgently find a new dress. Weeks before our big day, my parents repeatedly pressured and attempted to bribe me into signing away the rights to my name, which would have affected me, my wife, and our future children. They were adamant on me signing before my wedding date because then the terms of the deal would be initiated. My handout affected the payday, and they have never treated me the same since. During the wedding planning, my mum went so far as to call me evil because Nicola and I chose to include my Nana Sandra and Nicola's Nonna at our table because they both didn't have their husbands. Both of our parents had their own table equally adjacent to ours. The night before our wedding, members of my family told me that Nicola was not blood and not family. Since the moment I started standing up for myself with my family, I've received endless attacks from my parents, both privately and publicly, that were sent to the press on their orders. Even my brothers were sent to attack me on social media before they ultimately blocked me out of nowhere this last summer. My mum hijacked my first dance with my wife, which had been planned weeks in advance to a romantic love song. In front of our 500 wedding guests, Mark Antony called me to stage, where in the schedule we were planned to have our romantic dance alongside my wife, but instead my mum was waiting to dance with me. She danced very inappropriately on me in front of everyone. I've never felt more uncomfortable or humiliated in my entire life. We wanted to renew our vows so we could create new memories of our wedding day that bring us joy and happiness, not anxiety and embarrassment. My wife has been consistently disrespected by my family, no matter how hard we've tried to come together as one. My mum has repeatedly invited women from my past into our lives in ways that were clearly intended to make us both uncomfortable. Despite this, we still travelled to London for my dad's birthday and were rejected for a week as we waited in our hotel room trying to plan quality time with him. He refused all of our attempts unless it was at his big birthday party with 100 guests and cameras at every corner. When he finally agreed to see me, it was under the condition that Nicola wasn't invited. It was a slap in the face. Later, when my family travelled to LA, they refused to see me at all. My family values public promotion and endorsements above all else. Brand Beckham comes first. Family love is decided by how much you post on social media or how quickly you drop everything to show up and pose for a family photo op, even if it's at the expense of our professional obligations. We've gone out of our way for years to show up and support at every press activity to show our perfect family. But the one time my wife asked for my mum's support to save displaced dogs during the LA fires, my mum refused. The narrative that my wife controls me is completely backwards. I have been controlled by my parents for most of my life. I grew up with overwhelming anxiety. For the first time in my life since stepping away from my family, that anxiety has disappeared. I wake up every morning grateful for the life I choose and have found peace and relief. My wife and I do not want a life shaped by image, press, or manipulation. All we want is peace, privacy, and happiness for us and our future family. Mic drop. Okay, so I think it's really important that we remember there are always two sides to every story with this. This is a family fallout that I believe should never have been played out within the press. What do we know? We know that Brand Beckham work incredibly closely with The Sun. I have previously done videos, which I'll tag below, regarding how Brand Beckham leaks stories to The Sun via Clemmy Moody. Brooklyn and Nicola were never going to win in the PR war against Brand Beckham because Brand Beckham is very rock solid when you look at how long they have worked within the media industry and the network of contacts they have built up. What I find very interesting here is how Brooklyn has lifted the veil on how everything works within the industry. So you have heard from me about pap shots, about how everything is performative. I'm really interested in what Brooklyn Beckham has said regarding it all being a facade. This is something I say time and time again. And I'm always very vocal on the fact that the world is a stage. Your celebrities, yes, they're real people, but everything you see regarding them is curated. They only want you to see what they're showing you. Very often, 99% of what is going on is kept out of the public eye, whether it be by a publicist stopping it running or a celebrity choosing not to share this. The narrative they give you is the narrative they want you to have. It sounds like Brooklyn Beckham has grown up, using his own words, having anxiety. And to quote him, he says he wants peace, privacy, and happiness for them and their future family. Does this mean Nicola is with child? Who knows? That's a little nod, though, to future family. So whilst I'm not saying she's pregnant or anything like that, evidently this is within the horizon for them. But I would say now would be a really good time for Brooklyn and Nicola just to come off Instagram and to not court the press, because they put all of their vow renewal pictures online. Nicola put them all on Instagram. They wanted this to be seen. So if you really want a life that doesn't have anxiety and you want privacy, what you shouldn't do is you shouldn't then court interest and publicity online using Instagram. Who knows how this is going to roll out? Evidently, though, what we can take from this is that much of what we see with Brand Beckham is curated. Now, that's no secret to anyone within the industry. They are renowned for tightly controlling the narrative. But what is crystal clear with this statement is this is a disaster for Brand Beckham. This is the last possible outcome they would want. They do not want anything that goes against their strong family brand image. So stay tuned and let's see how this plays out.